What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop in the Discord link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, family in the house here. We did our Fan Friday today, the Saturday special. We got a special guest here tonight with us on My Cowboys Family, and he's in the over everything side of things. On our, we get our once a month special showing of our guest, or whoever the guest or guests may be, in the over everything level. We'll talk about that in a minute, and more as well tonight, as well as who's elevated from the practice squad, injury updates, and of course some bold predictions, some bold kind of, I would say bold, but some things we need to see tomorrow, I think, just in general for this team against the Giants. We'll talk about that.
Bold or baseline, you decide.
Yeah, we'll discuss it all tonight. Probably a quicker MCF stream. So as you guys know what to do, drop your comments in the chat. We'll try to get to them. If you definitely want us to shout out your comment, your chat, shout you out, drop the love. There's different ways of dropping it. Super chat. There's a thanks button. There's the gifted membership. There's also the regular membership you can just jump into. And like Amazing Games is back in that navy blue crew. Much love to you, Amazing Games, who, by the way, is first place on our board this week. I'll explain that in a minute. And also big shout outs to Jason Renfro dropping a Cash App of $1 holler last night after the stream ended. And another one right after that, a $3.60 holler from Jason Renfro in the house. Much love to him. But we got to start off maybe with the people kicking it off, repping it on the big major boards. And that's our sponsor of the week for back-to-back weeks, twice in a row, 2 weeks in a row. The man, you know why he's here. You know why he's here. Yeah, like our 90s Cowboys, repping it. SnugX, the sponsor of the week. And then above, you've seen SnugX as our Cash App king for 12 straight weeks.
That's right.
Domination from SnugX. Much love to him. Jason Renfro also knows a little about domination. He's currently dominating that stream boss, 100 points out of 100. He's fully loaded for Jason Renfro, top spot there. And then, of course, in the gifting membership, the man staying skeptical. Skeptical fan. He won the membership battle last week. He's a 3-month in a row G right there when it comes to gifting memberships. But currently this week, he is in second place, right behind Jason Renfro, who's trying to take that top spot back. So we'll see what happens. It's a back and forth battle when it comes to the Cash App side of things. SnugX on the board. Jason Renfro, as I said earlier, on the board. Skeptical fan on the board. Others on the board. But the man in the lead right now, the man with the plan to try to break the 12-week streak by SnugX, it's Mr. Stanley Smith.
Ooh.
Much love to Stanley.
Shout out to you.
Making a run at this thing. He's also right there with Jason Renfro and Amazing Games. They're basically in a 3-way tie for the top spot. It's not really, they're separated by a little bit, but Jason Renfro, Stanley Smith, and Amazing Games, all three of them at the top of the board right now, trying to take that sponsor of the week run right now by SnugX. So we'll see what happens. But as I said, baby, there's a thanks button, super chats. You can jump in the memberships. There's gifting memberships. There's also ways you can run into the Cash App side of things, like Stanley Smith is in the lead and SnugX for 12 weeks, dominating for 3 months. How are the other ways people can drop a little love to that side of the board?
Of course, you have the Cash App, money sign My Cowboys Family. You have the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link showing up on screen just like a super chat.
Yes, cannot do this without you guys' love and support. And let me continue by shouting out, or you can shout out, baby, the people who rep the top shelf of the boards, and that means the star level membership and the over everything membership. Of course, much love to Navy Blue, and that's star level too. But we're talking about star level. I'm sorry, Navy Blue and Silver too. But let's talk about that star level and the over everything levels. Shout them out, baby.
To Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Mary Alvarez, Andy Potch, Marissa Sparkle, Da Lunatic, and of course, over everything, C. Bass.
Which, by the way,
is our special guest tonight. So you'll be hearing from him in just a few minutes here. We're going to get into a little bit of Cowboy news first, and then we'll go ahead and get Mr. C. Bass here on the line.
Yeah, I think we're going to do it that way. We're going to have him in here for the whole show.
Yeah, so here. It's all right. Let me go ahead and shoot his number. Or shoot him the number.
Yeah, I have to open up that number, though. It won't come up right away. But I do want to finish, kind of do our shout-outs here. Yeah. At least let's finish with that first. And then he can call in. Much love to C. Bass representing it. And everybody else in the house here representing it, which I do have to shout out another name here, making a run at the top spot. Now in first place by himself, it is Stanley Smith. He dropped a $14 Holler. A very important number this game. One of the people we talked about yesterday being a major part of this thing.
Marquise Bell.
Marquise Bell. You see him. You guys, take a look at our front cover here. Just so you know, yes, we got our offense. CeeDee Lamb and Dak gonna hook it up. They're scared. Tommy, the quarterback over here, Tommy DeVito. He's looking at the defense that we got. But you see right there, Saquon Barkley, the main piece we got to stop. Micah Parsons coming at him. But look who's at the bottom there making the tackle. It's number 14, Marquise Bell. Major piece to stop, I think, Saquon Barkley tomorrow.
I would expect no less.
Yeah, so Stanley representing that 14. He's also representing that first place spot on the overall board and on the catch. So we got a little takeover here, a big takeover by Stanley Smith, who was, 5th, 3rd, 2nd. Now jumping over Marco Seppi and Jason Renfro and Amazing Games into first place on the overall board. Much love, Stanley Smith. Hey, it's still a tight race, but Stanley's got the lead now.
But let me go ahead and do the shout-outs here in the chat as well.
Hit him up. I want to make sure I shout out that $14 holler by the man Stanley Smith taking over that side of the board, all the boards right now.
But yes, thank you to Cactus G in the place to be. Xavier Hidalgo, what's up? Mike Aldana, much love. Asmodeus in the house. We have Stephen White saying hello and hi.
Yeah.
Asmodeus representing. Kind of rolling back a little bit more. I know I see James Macias, what's up? Little Dallas Cowboy, much love to William Burney as well. Jason Renfro, what's up? Hello and hi to you. Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical. Freedom First in the house, I think. Was he first? I think so. There you go. Good for you. So, anyway, I think that's everybody here so far. So, let me make sure that we can get Mr. Seabass on the line here in just a moment. And, of course, as we go ahead and wait for that, take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us everywhere. But let's go ahead, kind of touch on one or two things.
Yeah, we'll get started here as Seabass gets ready to get on the line. Guys, Dallas Cowboys as well, every team out there and everybody out here right now. Today's the official day to celebrate Veterans Day. So, again, happy Veterans Day, those that served. And, definitely, we're, indebted to you guys, right? I mean, so dedication, the courage, service. Thank you to the veterans out there.
Thank you to all the veterans.
Yes, honoring all those who served. So, and doing wartime or peacetime, doesn't matter. So, again, happy Veterans Day again. Cowboys also had stuff out there about that. So, every team doing their thing. Now, I do want to start off with unfortunate news here. NFL news, horrible news. Former NFL cornerback, Raiders former first-round picks, cornerback DJ Hayden. Today, I think at the age of 31 years old, was killed in a car crash near downtown Houston. Hayden was among 6 people that were killed when a car sped through a red light on Fenton Street near the Gulf Freeway around 2 a.m., and this is all according to the Houston Police Department. Hayden was a former first-round pick for the Raiders in 2013, survived a near-fatal hit to the main vein of his heart during a practice session in 2012. So he's been through a lot there. And, man, he passed away. Passed away. He got killed, unfortunately, there in a car crash there. So that's horrible. But
obviously wishing the best to his family during this time, and I really hope they get the person who did this.
Yeah, they have to. I can't believe that person did too well either. You got to always be careful driving. You can be as careful as you can be. It's still going to be something where you have to look both ways and take an extra second or two maybe to even cross over when it's that late and people are just driving crazy. So hoping the best for everyone. And, one last thing I will say is that the Vikings, one last thing here, another news switch off here before we get to Cowboy stuff, before we get to Cowboy news. The Vikings getting ready to get Justin Jefferson onto the field and in the game. We weren't sure if he was going to play this week. In case you guys need to know this or not, he was not activated from IR, from the injured reserve for this game against the Saints. So he's going to miss this game with the hamstring still. He returned to practice, listed as questionable. The plan was to ramp him up gradually, and that's going to continue. So no Justin Jefferson yet in the field. I'm thinking another week or at most 2 before he gets back on that field. So now let me pause for a second, baby, because I think we got the man, Seabass, giving us a call here as he's getting on to the MCF channel as the Over Everything representation. And let me start it off with right there. A little Seabass representation. And let me also open up the phone lines here. So for Seabass, I know he just gave a quick call. Let me try to get it in time, and we can get him hooked up here.
Perfect.
And we can talk to the man, Seabass. We got a lot to discuss. Not just, Here he is. We got him right here, I think. Let's see.
Call from
Seabass.
There we go.
To accept, press 1.
Yes, we will. What's up, Mr. Seabass in the house? How you doing, sir? And welcome to my Cowboys family.
Woo.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been
Thanks
watching
for
your show
being
for a
on.
long time.
Thank you for being here with us, brother. Appreciate you.
Both of you guys. There's no one like you guys, so keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to continue watching.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And again, we know, half the fun of this is the fact that, not everybody has to agree on everything, but we're here to hear about all of it too. So
I can't hear what Seabass's 2 cents are on things. But we're gonna kind of let me get Seabass with his name and everything right there.
There it is.
Seabass represented here on my Cowboys family, the over everything level. And do you have anything you want to start off by saying before I get a little deeper into the news for today? It's not that much, so we're gonna have a lot of time to discuss your thoughts on our Cowboys and any little thing you like to about our Cowboys. But anything you want to start off with here, Seabass?
Absolutely. How about them Cowboys? Salute to mi familia. Blessed mi familia. Everybody watching, I'm currently tuned in, watching your show as we speak. I'm going to just let you lead the show, and I'm going to follow suit, my man.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you. I am excited to hear some questions we have for you just about, about our Cowboys. But let's start off with
Of course, especially because, we're obviously a few more weeks into the season, so we have a lot more to talk about.
Every time we get deeper into the season, things are always, popping up. Things are maybe ramping down. Either way, right now, the Cowboys, let's get into the news here real quick. The Cowboys today elevated linebacker Rashaan Evans to the 53-man, not the game day roster for tomorrow. So, again, he's not signed to the 53, but he is one of the practice squad elevations for the game against the Giants tomorrow. Now, something to remember about Rashaan Evans, this is his third and his final evaluation. So the only way he can play with the Cowboys after this game, with the star in his helmet this year, is to either be signed to our 53-man roster or, I guess he could be cut or trade or waived, and then he could be picked up by somebody else. He'll be playing with somebody else. So he cannot play with us unless we sign him to the 53-man roster. Or, and I will say, I think also the playoffs, things reset for him if he's still on our roster. Okay. So Cowboys have 3 linebackers now, though, on our 16-man practice squad. Buddy Johnson is the only one that has any elevations remaining. Who are the other 2? I just said. Evans got his 3rd elevation. You guys know the other guy? Malik Jefferson, who has all his 3 elevations also used up. So we're now, again, after this week, if we don't make any moves, Rashaan Evans, Malik Jefferson, their season's done with the Cowboys unless we sign one of them or both of them to the 53-man roster. The other guy is Buddy Johnson. I don't see Buddy Johnson getting moved on to the 53 or getting. He's the only guy with elevations remaining. And I don't see any elevations really, he's not going to really serve his purpose for us, I don't think, at all, as playing as our 3rd-string linebacker. So, again, I think right now the Cowboys obviously going to make a plan on signing one of these 2 guys to our 53 and making some moves on the roster after this game, starting probably Monday afternoon. Now, again, I want to clarify. I know in the past we kind of got confused on this, but sometimes a player that's on after their 3rd elevation, initially I thought you had to waive them. I want to clarify. You don't have to waive them. They can stay, like Malik Jefferson's still in our roster.
And, I thought you did have to waive them.
Yeah, I thought we thought that too, Seabass. That used to be kind of last year's thought process, but I think things changed after that year or two after COVID. Now it's basically you can keep him on your roster, but he can't play for you. He can get plucked off and used on another team's 53. But if no one takes them, then they stay on your roster. They can't play the rest of the season, but you don't have to release them, which is good news. But he is out of elevations. So again, like I said, the only way we're going to see Rashaan Evans or Malik Jefferson is in the playoffs if they're on our practice squad, or if they sign to the 50. If we sign them to the 53 man team. So again, the clock resets. These 3 elevations reset for the playoffs. So both guys could be available for the playoff run there. But again, would have to be moved to the 53-man roster to play in the regular season any time before that. Now, I do want to say one other thing. Where does this leave with this roster elevation? We don't see any receivers getting elevated.
That was my next question.
Yeah, and that is right. Kevontae Turpin, right? We're thinking
seems like he might be okay.
Is Kevontae Turpin going to be okay? Also, we knew that Mark.
I think it was his shoulder, right?
Yeah, the shoulder injury for Turpin. Okay, and it just
he's been questionable.
He's been questionable for the game, and again. Does that make a difference for the practice squad? For the situation for Kevontae Turpin, the fact that we didn't move up any receivers, I don't think it really changes much because they easily can just move up, just use Jalen Brooks as our fifth receiver, just move him up. I would
like to see more Jalen Brooks. I would really like to see that. And I think he is that type of guy who's got that frame for it. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I 100% agree. Actually, it'd be nice. I just don't know if he's ready yet. But the Cowboys, that's the thing that tells me the most. If the Cowboys need to replace Kevontae Turpin on the offensive side of the ball, I think they feel good enough with Jalen Brooks. Is the way I look at that. So that's why I'm agreeing with you, Seabass. I think that Jalen Brooks is a guy that I'm unsure about, but I think that the Cowboys are sure about him, meaning that then I'm really elevating anybody. I want to make sure Martavius Bryant. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
Absolutely.
We knew he was not going to get moved up until at least a couple of weeks for any games, if any at all.
You've needed a big guy like that. I mean, you got Jalen Brooks just sitting off on the bench. You need it. I mean, if you take a good look at what Philly has done, can we just take a step back and just watch what Philly has done? Fuck Philly. I'm not even going to make it a Philly show, but they went and tagged A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown's not the biggest receiver. I mean, you got DK Metcalf, but look at Martavis Bryant. He's 6'4", 211. You need somebody like that for the red zone. You need somebody like that to drive you up the field. If you have somebody alongside CD tandem, that bigger body frame, it's probably going to take you 2 DBs to cover said individual. That's just my 2 cents on that. I think they really do need to utilize Jalen Brooks because of his size. Maybe his intangibles might not be there. Maybe the fundamentals might need some crispening. But man, that he's got the size. And we do see in this league, as you guys constantly have alluded to on your show, size and speed most definitely matters in this league. And we're watching that go on by with having our guys. We like our guys. And they're just sitting on the bench. You can't just have players who are paid playing. You need to utilize those other folks because of their fundamentals, what they bring. Sorry, I want to
and their skill set. When you see someone like Jalen Brooks who can handle that kind of, to me, red zone ability to really add another dimension we don't have on this team. Can he do that? I know he's athletic, in college. I know he can do those kind of plays. I'm with you, Seabass. Will the Cowboys, is that what we're going with? Is that why we're going with Jalen Brooks right now? It looks like as our 5th guy for Turpin. I think we're trying to work him into this offense. I think he's still being worked in. But yeah, if you like your guys, you gotta use your guys, right? So I think Martavius Bryant.
That part. Yes, absolutely.
Martavius Bryant.
Just say that one more time, please.
You like your guys, you gotta use your guys.
Use your guys. Thank
right.
you. Can we get that in the chat, please? Can everybody just say that?
Hashtag like our guys, use our guys.
To just watch this show, please, because I'm sorry to cut you, but
no, go ahead.
MCF, MCW, you got to give it to the man. He does a damn good job at getting these boys together. But when it comes down to it, you need to put these guys on the field.
And I've been saying it throughout the week.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I've been saying it throughout the week. What better game to do it in than, I have to be honest, a pretty beat-up Giants team where you can get some serious NFL experience without maybe risking as much as you would. Because guess what? If your offense goes out there, gets a solid lead, you have more freedom to mix in these guys amongst your, like you said, your paid guys that we know, whether we like it or not, they're the ones who are going to get a good chunk of the snaps still.
Yeah.
So the other guys do have to kind of fight and make their case for it. What better way to make a case than an easy 14-point lead? Just saying.
Assuming we should have that, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but no Cowboys fan or any Cowboys player should be looking at this game going into it talking about or feeling like they should have their chest pumping. This is a build up your stats game. I think MCW alluded to that in one of her previous shows maybe a couple weeks ago. This is not one of those games. Sure, this is definitely a game you should win. But this isn't a game where if you come out on top, you got to go out there beating your chest, being all Shadur Sanders and whatnot with the wristwatch and, and floating and all that. Just take care of business, stack these next 3 games. I'm not going to say 4 because I'm not really sure how they're going to stack up against Seattle. I really do hold my team over that. But these next 3 games, it's not for you to out pump your chest. We just got to win those games, play complementary football, as you guys have constantly alluded to on this show. It's running the football, airing it out when it needs to be aired out. Brandon Cooks has to do his assignments so that he can free up more time for CD, so CD can cook. If your last name is Cooks and you in the kitchen, you ain't heating anything up, why are you on the field? I like to make fun. I'm being facetious, but Martavis Bryant, I feel like he's an extra added piece. But I feel like you were just alluding to MCF, Jalen Brooks is going to be that guy because of his frame. I really want to see him out there because that's what Dak really needs. If you think back to when we had Dalton Schultz, kind of like what you see from Jake Ferguson now. Jake Ferguson is not a really tall dude. He's a big body dude. That's a corn-fed man. That's a big dude. And that's hard.
Stop.
Yeah, you're saying, what are you saying, baby?
I say he's hard to stop.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's sneaky.
And I'm glad she said that first because that's a big-bodied individual. That's what I was touching on earlier. If you have a big-bodied individual, if you throw that ball up there and you say, hey, go get this here down yonder, he's going to come back down with that ball 9 times out of 10. Because if you have a 6'6" man, he's looking over the offensive line. You can't have guys like KaVontae Turpin and put all your faith in guys like Brandon Cooks when these guys aren't even pushing over 6 feet. CeeDee Lamb stands 6'2", but he looks like a 6'1". You need bigger, taller guys.
I mean, the Cowboys, that's the one thing I think that they were missing when they brought in Martavis Bryant, in the sense of like a talent that could maybe grow, and maybe not grow, but maybe get back to where he was. And you can use him in the red zone. You can use a 6'4", 215 guy out there. So, Jalen Brooks is an option. I don't think either guy is going to go in there and start blazing and just doing great things. I just think that if we use them right, it would be it reminds me of kind of a Hankins situation last year on defense. You bring these specialists in to do things specifically of things that we are lacking, like red zone, height at receiver. That might be, this is where maybe we can get something from Jalen Brooks or Martavis Bryant later on in the season, if he gets to that far, right? So,
right.
I think that when you
what can we say about? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. I want to hear what you guys say.
What can we say about maybe moving Deuce Vaughn back into? I mean, a lot of fans are asking about the man. He hasn't really. If we are going to ask questions about Brandon Cooks' productivity, I think a fair question can be assessed about what's going on with Deuce Vaughn. Why haven't we really seen this man?
And that kind of you know what we're going to say, because you're leading us right into not really the next topic, but kind of finishing up the topic about the elevated players. The fact that we didn't elevate any receivers, the fact that KaVontae Turpin is banged up and we don't know if he's going to play. He's questionable. That's why we're talking about Jalen Brooks. But that's where I think also when it comes to kickoff returns and punt returns, this is where you don't have KaVontae Turpin. And this is where you see Deuce Vaughn being active for this game. And I think this is the kind of game. And, I said it the other day, and I said I think this is the game maybe Deuce Vaughn does get a touchdown on offense. This game, because he's going to be active. He's going to be active for this game. He hasn't been active for 3-4 weeks. So he's going to be active for this game. He's going to, again, if things go the way they should go, we should have a nice lead here in the fourth quarter. Deuce's going to get the whole third and fourth quarter to play more, especially that he's now another running back in the mix. And not just a kickoff and punt return.
I think he'll eat that. I think he'll eat that defensive lineup because those are behemoths on the other side, and they're going to lose him, and he's going to dice them. If they give those boys the work, like I think they're going to give them the work, by halftime, the starters are going to be on the bench drinking mojitos, and Deuce is going to be out there running all over them.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll see, right? But if the Cowboys do get that lead, I do expect to see more Deuce than we've seen probably since the last time we saw him on that field.
Yeah, I also want to see the Deuce get loose.
Yeah, and look, I think that's where you're going to see him. The fact that my point is this: he's not going to get loose on the offensive side unless it's a blowout, which is what I'm thinking it's going to be seen. But he's definitely going to be active for this game with the uncertainty of KaVontae Turpin. So I think you're going to see Deuce Vaughn taking back punt returns. You're going to see maybe him doing the kickoff returns too, but I think also Rico Dowdle may be doing those. So when you look at these moves, these elevations from today's roster, Dowdle will be. Yeah, I think he's going to be an option for us in this game. Listen, I mean, I'm going to talk about some bold prediction. I think Rico Dowdle is one of the big bold predictions in this game as well. I said it yesterday as well.
Oh, good. I want to hear some more about him. I want him to see some more active time.
Rico Dowdle is being underused. I know McCarthy said he's going to keep using him similarly, so that's not a great thing about Rico. But if we have a little bit of a lead, I think you'll see Rico and Deuce Vaughn a lot more in this game. Now, let me just go to the Giants real quick. And just because they made some moves today, the Giants activated outside linebacker. He's really a pass rusher, Azeez Ojulari from IR to the active roster, which means he's ready to play. So they're getting another extra piece in the mix there on their defensive line, which again, it makes things a hair more difficult. I mean, it's no excuse for the Cowboys to fear anything, although their best part of their defense is their defensive line that got a little better. But they also elevated their kicker, because they don't have a kicker on the active roster right now. They elevated Randy Bullock from the practice squad to the active game day roster, and tight end Tyree Jackson from the practice squad also elevated for this game. Of course, we know no Darren Waller. They got Bellinger as their starter right now, so they're trying to throw in maybe their third or fourth tight end there, Tyree Jackson from the practice squad. Kind of what we do sometimes when we used to do it with McEwen, and we do it with other guys. We move that guy up from the tight end spot to our game day roster. Now, the other guy I will say that it kind of was it was listed as questionable, I think, for the game, or was he out? I'm not sure. But Mark Glowinski, I think he was questionable. He had a rest day, and all of a sudden now he's got a personal matter he's dealing with. He's not going to play at the Cowboys, so he's out. One of the other offensive linemen for the Giants,
that's interesting,
also out for this game. So when you look at the Giants' offensive line, let me be honest here. They got Andrew Thomas, who's banged up, but he's playing left tackle, their best offensive lineman. Justin Pugh, left guard, Pugh. The rookie, John Michael Schmitz. They got Ben Bredston there at the guard. And then Evan Neal is out for this game. He's going to have to be, he's their right tackle. They're going to have to use guys like Tyree Phillips.
That's a huge loss for them.
And again, he hasn't even played well against the Cowboys, Evan Neal, but he is their best guy left. Joshua Miles. Glowinski is actually the interior kind of like patchwork guy that kind of can go anywhere inside. He's out for this game. So they are light on the line there. They're not good in the first place. They're going to have their work cut out for them against our Cowboy defense. And I say about defense, I will say one thing real quick about the speed of our defense. Like Sam Williams, real quick. Just a little side note on Sam Williams. He posted today on Twitter that he hit 23.5 miles per hour.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
When it came to the GPS,
that's good news.
Yeah, those
That's
GPS trackers.
Kicker.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's fast.
We've seen him, look quite a bit, and honestly, let's be honest. When we talk about Mozzie Smith, when we talk about Sam Williams, a lot of the times we're talking about when we're like, where the heck are they?
Yeah,
right?
But
and it's a little bit disappointing. So it is nice that the last 2-3 games, even against a strong offensive line like the Eagles line, that we've seen him, take advantage of the fact that Micah's being double and triple teamed.
Yeah,
and being held.
Yeah, and you got to remember too. We're looking at him as a defensive player, right? I'm looking at him as a gunner on special teams. He's the guy that's blocking punts. So his speed getting in there and his acceleration, whether it's on a gunner situation, he's a defensive edge running down the sideline as a gunner. So to me, you're seeing his speed ability, 23.5 miles per hour. He just was showing that today. The speed on our defense, the speed from Sam Williams is going to make a difference to so it make this a living hell for the Giants quarterback. And again, speaking of quarterbacks, I do want to make a mention real quick of our quarterback, Dak Prescott, and the fact that he's not on the top 10 list of interception leaders. Jimmy Garoppolo with 9. Josh Allen also has 9. Mac Jones has 9. And Sam Howell has 9. Those 4 guys have 9 interceptions. Mahomes and Jordan.
It must hurt.
I'll give you a second here. We got Mahomes, Jordan Love, and Jalen Hurts, all with 8 interceptions. And Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, and Bryce Young. All these guys have 7 picks. Dak nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Dak has
list.
4 or 5 or something?
Something like that. But again, people
put some respect on Thor's name.
Thank you, Seabass. Exactly. And I'm not saying he's the best guy in the world, but I'm saying he's not one of these people who just want to make sure that Dak gets a bad rap because they want to be right.
You worship at the altar of the Church of Dak, but you also don't have to throw the whole man out the 4th floor window.
Yeah,
I can appreciate that multiple things can be true at once.
Exactly.
If you play for the most glamorous team in the world, let's just shout this out. It's not 7 billion. No. It's not 8 billion. No. It's not 9 billion. It's a little bit over 9 billion. That's just how much the team's worth. The man himself is worth over $15 billion. Okay? It comes down to Dak. I could understand that fans feel a certain type of way, but they also cannot put in perspective like us grown folks can, that it took both Drew Brees and a certain other name. Can you guess it? Took them 9 seasons.
Who was the other guy? Who?
That would be Peyton Manning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Old Peyton Manning.
9 seasons. 9 seasons. How many seasons are we on with Dak, folks? Just go ahead and put that in the chat.
Are we in 9 here? Are we in 9?
You know, you guys like to hate on Dak, and I can understand. You know, I'm not a Dak apologist, but there needs to. I like that you did that. There needs to be more people like that come out and hold those big, you know, alphabetical companies, those media. They hold them accountable. There's fair analytics. The man has not had outside of his. Just put this in perspective. If you look at Dak Prescott's playoff career, he is 2-4. There are 8 years of this man's career that he has spent in the NFL, and at 2-4, 2 plus 4 is 6. That would equate that this man has been to 6 playoffs in his 8-year career. That would equal to 1 each year. He's had 2 years where he threw a lot of interceptions. Let's be real, right?
And he was also given a receiver by committee. That wasn't very fair. Of twice, I think, 2 of his seasons.
Yeah, I
right?
think one of those years he was injured too, where he missed. You know, you only played 4 or 5 games.
And I'll take that absolutely. I'm right there with you. Right there, I'm biting on those inches too, because I just don't see that this man deserves. He's a Dallas Cowboy, so I do understand it. But from its own fan base, that's a little sketch. Like I get it, but you guys, it took 9 seasons for these greats, as you hold enshrined in your memory, to reach the same plateau of success. And not only that, if Dak's not doing good, is CeeDee Lamb doing good? Is J-Ron Curse doing good? Is Marquise Bell doing good? No, if one of them is not doing good, it really does show. When they lost Diggs, did the team come back from that properly? Can we ask? No, they didn't, because they got their asses handed to them, and then some. So I feel it's all. If everything's going well for the Cowboys, they should walk into this game feeling confident in themselves that they're going to win it, not cocky. Because we should have a healthy respect for every NFL team out there at this point. I mean, let's think back to Arizona and then let's put some rest. It should be one of those games where you use your guys, like MCF was saying, like MCW, you were saying in the beginning of the show. Use your guys. Use the right guys. I want to hear more about if they're going to use Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn. Those guys are different. You can't overload Pollard. And I think you both alluded to that in one of your previous shows. But I digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I think that the thing about the Cowboys in these next couple of games, and listen, I guess I'm a little bit harder. I agree, respect every team in the NFL, no question. But I also say there is no way in hell the Cowboys should even come close. I know you're saying the same thing, but there's no way we should lose this game. I will be very upset if we struggle, because this is a team, the Giants, that don't really have much there. I'm not saying it to talk shit. I'm saying that it's literally they don't have much. So if they somehow beat us, it's a colossal disaster. And, last time we were favored by 17 points or more, last year against the Houston Texans, and we barely won that game, if you guys remember. So, yeah, you got to be careful. It's up to the players to be humble and understand the situation. But us fans, there's no reason why this team should struggle. And I think everybody knows that. So after last week's loss, you can't come out of that loss. To me, there's kind of a trap game, or you're going to lose it. No way. You got to come out in this game and you got to blow this team out. You got to show everybody you can rebound from a tough loss against the Eagles, and make sure you can wallop these teams that deserve to be fucking crushed. Again, thrashing the New York Trash. That's what I want to see. And I'm gonna say this about their quarterback. When we lost to the Cardinals, I know they had Joshua Dobbs, who has been in the NFL a little bit, so he was a little experienced in there. But
that's a veteran. Yeah. He has the experience. He has the intangibles. That's why he's look at Brandon Cook's situation and try and correlate how the similarities are to Josh Dobbs.
I agree 100%. But that's the thing, though. This quarterback they have now, Josh Dobbs, has some fire, but he can do a little damage. There's no way this Tommy DeVito is going to be able to, if he does anything the way that Dobbs or anyone else did it against if he can function against our defense, we're done. We're in trouble. So
we're in trouble.
To me, that is me. Look, I agree. And I've said this last night multiple times. I'm going to say it again tomorrow, probably during the game. But I would like to like you said, let's find uses for Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn. Let's find uses for Schoonmaker a little bit better than just the 1 yard gainers and barely. And then you have other guys like Brandon Cooks, like Gallup, like Tolbert that we want to all see get used more in this game, maybe earlier on in the game. And I think this is the way you have to perfect your players. Get these next 3 weeks, got to get these guys implemented in this offense so you can be healthy. You could be it could be second nature when you're in the real games against the tougher teams in the playoffs. You got to get these guys ready now, right now. That's the most important thing these next 3 weeks. Get these wins, blow them out, but get your offensive guys in on the same pattern, on the same page as McCarthy, Dak, everybody, as CeeDee Lamb. Everyone's got to be on the same page so we can utilize all our weapons, not just one of our weapons.
And win by multiple scores, not just
agreed.
two. I want them to go out there and impose their will. You don't lift your foot until they say please type shit. I want to see that. Micah Parsons, you know what? Let's not even go to Micah Parsons because I'm not going to let Dan Quinn off the hook like everybody else is giving Dan Quinn all this praise. This man, I believe we could have stomped San Francisco. I believe we had outplayed Philadelphia. If this man could have and it's not just solely on Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy, and we already have been privy to his clock mismanagement and all that, but it wasn't on Mike this time. Dan Quinn did not make any necessary adjustments in those 2 games until it really mattered. Where's the rotational pieces? Why are we not moving around Micah? These guys have figured out Micah since San Francisco. The tape, the film is there. MCW, MCS. The film is there. Micah was figured out. They had him like he was telegraphing it. They had him all sketched out.
Something on offense and defense both.
His own job, and he did their job for them.
Yeah. No, he's the focal point of our defense, and wherever he is, you know what I'm saying, he's going to take all the looks, but
yeah, and something on offense and defense both that I'm sorry, but we all have been kind of waiting for some of our players to fight for some flags, and it's not to use the refs or whatever. It's just that when Micah's being held 3 ways to Sunday, he just kind of takes it and lets it roll off his shoulders. Like, I'm sorry, man, get pissed the fuck off. Yeah. We saw him finally do it, like you said, towards the end of the game when they felt like ignoring it at that point. Because guess what? You've been letting it happen all game. You're going to complain now. Yeah. So I don't want it to turn into a whiny crybaby fest either, but sometimes when it's really blatant, so you got to speak up. The squeaky wheel gets a grease. If you sit there and say nothing, they're just going to keep letting it slide.
Absolutely. And I could not have said that better. And she made a valid point, and I think that point can be pointed right at CeeDee Lamb. Finish your route, even if it warrants a penalty. Finish your route. Go through your assignment and make sure that you're covered on your end. If the defender warrants a flag by what he's done, by his actions, finish the route. Don't sit there and stop on the route when Dak has thrown the ball and act like, you crying for a flag. That I feel like MCW, that they really did not. I feel like it's just a youth. It might be, he's naive. I'm not sure. But that's that goes back to coaching. The coaches have to establish that within these folks. And we already know that's a different conversation. Coaches can't coach in Jerry world. But, it comes down to finish your assignment. I can't tell you how many times we've seen Dak. And I'm sure I've watched many of your shows where you guys have shown us fans the films before you two started acting like a little, Yeah. And
we know.
You can see that these receivers and the tight ends are either dropping passes because they're not going through with the route, or they're scared to take a hit, or whatnot. And it's like, I just need that to be cleaned up. And I haven't seen Mike McCarthy make that adjustment as far as what I was alluding to earlier. And then Dan Quinn, when you're out there getting fried like chicken, How are you not making adjustments? How are you not making the proper schematic adjustments, moving folks around? You got Dorrance Armstrong sleeping. You got Sam Williams sleeping. You know, we took a loss by losing Overshown and Diggs. But you've got some other playmakers out there, and they've got to find a way to get that locked in and move these guys around so that they can eat. And if you can free up CD, and if you can free up Micah, and if you can free up Dak, those are your playmakers. Those are the guys who are going to win you games. I think these coaches need to find a way to play towards the players' skills and strengths. And I think you both alluded to that in previous shows. I digress.
Agree, 100%. And I think that McCarthy's maybe getting better at that right now, but I still think he's leaving a lot left still on the table.
Still
there.
a lot on the table.
A lot on the plate there. But I'm going to move on for a second here to the Giants quarterback.
Yeah, we have a lot to laugh about together here.
You guys talking about, again, Seabass talking here about, Micah Parsons' defense, how Dan Quinn's going to use guys. Listen, we're going to look better than the 1985 Bears in this game. We should. The defense should. So I expect this defense to just really allow no points in this game. And I don't know how Tommy DeVito, the undrafted first start of his career as a rookie, of course, but is undrafted this year. He's a New Jersey native. And the craziest thing we got to talk about him right now is that he's living his life and he's benefiting his life right now by living with his parents. I mean, he did say some things today about that, I think. The quarterback for the Giants, Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, and look, let's be honest. Lots of players live with their parents, but this is like on a slightly different level. And let him tell it. He says, quote, "It was a no-brainer for me. Everything that I need is there at the house. The decision was made since this level of football is stressful for a rookie, especially from the quarterback position. There's a lot going on and a lot of meetings, so everything outside of football is handled by my family. I don't have to worry about laundry, what I'm eating for dinner, chicken cutlets, and all that is waiting for me when I get there. My mom still makes my bed. Everything's handled for me. Honestly, I don't even know if I could find a place closer to here than where I live. It takes me 12 minutes to get here."
Guys, you don't understand. This guy right here in the middle of your screen here, Tommy DeVito, Tommy DeVito, he is right now, again, this opportunity is usually you can't get that to a rookie quarterback to get all these. Yeah, he probably lives the closest to the facility. But again, he's the 10th undrafted quarterback since 2000 to start an NFL game. Undrafted. He's the 10th rookie quarterback this year, which is a record, by the way. Most rookies to start a season in the NFL, it's this year, believe it or not. And we're not even done with it yet. So other guys were confused in the Giants that he's living at home. They didn't even know it.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's not too many Giants players that live next door, right? So Barkley even said, living at home, home? So he was confused, and then when they explained,
that's a beautiful thing. But
he's like, for real, he could not believe it.
That's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah,
I can't even knock the man. That's a beautiful thing. You get an opportunity, even though I don't want him to win. Go out there, man. You came up off the couch. Do your thing. Yeah,
listen,
it might take you somewhere.
He has nothing to lose, this guy. But again, he's kind of had issues last week. He's going to have major issues this week because, again, Justin Pugh, the offensive lineman for the Giants, the left guard.
Yeah. He's been in the NFL for 11 years, and he said in those 11 years he's never known of a player who lived at home during the season.
Yeah. There have been some, and the Giants have had a couple, actually, but the point is that he's seen, again, he kind of had something to say about that. I think Justin Pugh did say something.
Yeah, so he's like, this man cracked the code saying, quote, "This is the greatest. You know what? Smart. Saving his money? Genius. That's the one thing I'd say from a financial standpoint. Your mom helping you with your wash, making sure you're up on time, no distractions. Unbelievable."
The guy, I will say,
that's exactly, you nailed it right there. That's exactly why he's doing it.
He has got a lucky head start. Listen, he's only 15 minutes away from the stadium. So he's probably better than most of these guys as far as their drives are going to be, no matter how much money they have. And
that is
he lives right next to the stadium, this guy. So again, the DeVitos have already served as family hosts already. Jalen Hyatt, the rookie, Wan'Dale Robinson, Bryce Ford Wheaton, all these receivers have been over to his house for dinner. Hyatt, who's also a rookie again, he credits DeVito with putting him onto the good restaurants and spots.
Yeah, pretty much
in New
all
Jersey,
the places
right?
in the area.
Yeah, well, he said something about
he has a little hot tub in the back. The crazy thing is he lives 15 minutes away, so he's close, and I've been over there. Yeah. I love going to his spot.
Again, so Not going to talk anymore about Tommy DeVito, but we'll talk about him tomorrow, hopefully when he's getting sacked multiple times.
We'll send him crying back home.
But I'm going to tell you this about his passing ability tomorrow. No matter how good he is, he's going to have trouble throwing against this Cowboy defense. The Cowboy defense right now is allowing an average of 179 yards passing per game. That is the 6th best in the NFL. The Giants offense is only averaging 155 passing yards per game. That is 32nd. That is the worst in the NFL. That's with Daniel Jones. So now they got this guy, Tommy. I guess he can only be better. I don't know. But Tommy DeVito, he's about to get his head smashed in.
It is literally only up from there.
Yeah, it's got to be. You figure, or will it be? Or will it be, right? I'm going to say this as we get to the end of my part. I do want to talk to Seabass, of course, a little bit more. But I do want to give a couple of my I'll say bold predictions or kind of bold statements or things that I expect to see. I don't care about this any situation. I don't care about other. I just know the Cowboys need to do these things. And the first thing starts with going after this quarterback, Tommy DeVito. The Cowboy defensive line, I think, can get 6 or more sacks in this game and force a couple of fumbles or force some interceptions. The Cowboy defense should get turnovers and should get sacks in this game. The Giants' offensive line is horrific. They've allowed the most sacks, 49 sacks in football right now. They have right now the worst composite pass protection rating from their offensive line in the NFL, and that's by a lot. They are the worst by a lot, pass protection. Wow. PFF has the Giants ranked as the worst passing offensive line and run blocking offensive line in the NFL. So they can't run either. That's going to make
bad, but they're really bad.
Yeah, Saquon's the only guy they got. And Marquise Bell, like I said, I think he's going to be a key in stopping him. But if you look at the first matchup between the Cowboys and Giants in the rain there, week 1, the Cowboys had 27 pressures in that game, 19 hurries, and 5 sacks. The Cowboys' defensive line controlled the game after that first drive and made it almost impossible for the Giants to even move the ball through the air at all. And there's no way. So, again, this should be the same thing this game. The Giants give up. Last week, they gave up 6 sacks just on this new quarterback, Tommy DeVito. He should be running for his life all fucking game. The Cowboy consistent pressure should force him to fumble, throw interceptions, and get sacked, setting up easier scores for the Cowboy offense. So that's pretty. I think that's pretty much. That's not even a bold statement. That's what should happen, and it has to happen. I think another guy.
There we go.
Another guy we got to look at in this thing on the offensive side. 2 guys, Jalen Tolbert. I think he had an increased role last week. His best snaps he had the whole season last week, while it was Michael Gallup's least amount of snaps last year. So Tolbert also had I think career high in receiving yards in the second half of the game.
He looked good.
I'm sorry?
He looked good. He looked
good.
Tolbert,
listen, last week in the second half of the Eagles game, he took pretty much all of Michael Gallup's snaps in that game. He ended up playing 31 offensive snaps and probably had the most productive, efficient game of his career. A former 3rd-round pick, he caught 3 passes for 49 yards and scored the first touchdown of his NFL career last week. So I expect Tolbert to have over 49 yards, more than 3 catches, and scoring a touchdown. Say that again? Yeah.
I want Tolbert to eat. Yes.
Yeah, I think every game, the more opportunity, I hope the more opportunity, the better he keeps getting, right? So again, Gallup unfortunately looking like he's going on the lower, the downhill trajectory. Unfortunately for him.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes.
Since you talked about Gallup, do you think Gallup is on a decline?
I think he's kind of at a standstill because of
that
knee,
flat
right?
line.
Yeah, flat line's a good way to describe it. I think he's kind of. I don't know if he'll ever get back to the way he played before his knee injury, and that was one of my biggest issues. That's why I said we cannot sign him again after that knee injury without knowing what he's going to look like.
And I guess the Cowboys said no.
Cowboys said, no, let's just sign him. And this is the clown show, as we always say, with the Joneses in the front office. Another move by them, which probably wasn't the smartest. We all love our guys, but they love them sometimes. Sometimes they love them too much. Paying guys that are injured. Like Gallup and like Terrence Steele. They signed them both coming off of ACL injuries, expecting them to be right back to where they started, where they were at. And that's not going to happen. And it's obvious with Gallup, it's 2 years now. It hasn't happened. And Terrence Steele, well, this is his first year, but we've already seen some things there we don't like. So, again.
I feel like they repeatedly have done this with other players that were in those eras of the greats, where we talk about the Troy Aikmans of the world, we talk about the Michael Irvins of the world, we talk about all those guys. I feel like there was players even then that Jerry did this same thing with, the Terrence Steele situation, the Michael Gallup situation. Hell, even I think what was his name? Anthony Brown, I think his name was. Did he get injured, or was it Jordan Lewis? I think I'm getting.
Well, Jordan Lewis was injured. We keeping him on a $5 million.
But we moved on from Anthony Brown.
Yeah, Anthony Brown moved on, but we still all these guys were banged up or injured here and there, and we kept kept sticking with them.
Why?
Yep. Yeah, and I agree. Again, depends on the rate. But Jordan Lewis, he was already re-signed for this year. We could have cut him and saved like $4 million. We kept him. And listen, he's not having a very good season either right now. I don't think he will be re-signed next year. I hope not. But the Joneses, if it's their drafted guy, I can't put it past them. They might re-sign some guys that maybe we don't want to re-sign them. Whether it's LVE, and again, he has his good and bad in him. But the Cowboys going to sign him again and re-sign him twice since his contract expired. Just saying that this is...
We like our guys.
We like our guys.
Exactly, Steve. That's today's quote. We like our guys. The other kind of, not to say bold statement, but the other thing I want to see come up in this game, it's really two guys, but it is the running backs, like you were saying, Seabass, Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn. I think Deuce Vaughn... And I think Deuce Vaughn may get... I'm going to say this. I think this is my bold prediction. He gets his first touchdown of his career in this game. In my opinion, I think that's what he's going to get. And I think that, without Cavante Turpin in the game, right, Deuce Vaughn's going to be active, and he's going to serve as definitely the primary punt returner, possibly also kick returner. So I think he's going to get a lot of work there. But as the game gets to the end, into the third and fourth quarters, I think you're going to see Deuce Vaughn moved in there over Rico Dowdle, maybe with him for a little bit, and then overtaking him in the fourth quarter, just because I think he's going to need just to get some reps. He's going to be active. And I think Rico Dowdle, number one, I think he's going to have a very good game. Here's a chance to show what Rico can do even in a bigger way. Now, will McCarthy give him snaps? Probably not any new snaps. The Giants' run defense is pretty decent, I guess, compared to the rest of their team. But in the end, we still should be able to run on this Giants team. And I think that I want to see Pollard do his thing, get him out early, rest him, whatever. And then let's see some Rico Dowdle. And as the game continues, some Deuce Vaughn. I think Deuce Vaughn scores in this game. I think against maybe Giant players that may have to be benched as well. If this thing gets ugly at the end, you'll see Deuce against some backups. I think that's using even more ability to get loose. I want to see everybody. Brandon Cooks. I want to see Tolbert and see whatever we get from Gallup.
That MCF. If I could piggyback off
that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Last season I don't know why they staved away from doing things that work. Dallas Cowboys top brass are notorious for fixing things that ain't broken. You had Pollard and Zeke going tandem. You had the power in Zeke, and you had the speed in Pollard. And this year, we've seen it on the tape, on the film. Give Rico the ball. You cannot put it all on Pollard. He's not that type of back. And I think many fans are starting to see that, and they're calling for the usage because it's criminal at this point, the underutilization of Deuce Vaughn and Rico Dowdle. And I could even attribute some of that to Turpin because we saw what Turpin can do on jet sweeps. I think it's criminally underutilized that you have guys that are speedsters and you're not putting those folks on the field. If you had that formula last season, use that formula. If you like your guys, they have what it takes. Use them.
And it's funny. I mean, when it comes to Zeke, I understand that his contract is why we had to move away from him. But the fact that we've seen Rico Dowdle be able to move piles, we see him using his strength and his that extra oomph that Pollard and even Deuce Vaughn cannot do, and they don't have that strength to do that. Let's say. I love that. Pollard has strength, but not that kind of like explosiveness strength that you see with Rico Dowdle. Right. So I agree. We got to see more Rico Dowdle, and we should use more Rico in the way we weigh our offense and our running backs. But again, McCarthy stressed that he's not changing the snap counts or for Rico Dowdle and Tony Pollard. So that's going to be the same kind of 80-20 situation that we're probably going to end up doing in this game. I just think that when it comes to Deuce Vaughn. And Turpin as well. With him being gone on offense, I think you can use Deuce Vaughn and you can use guys like Rico Dowdle in these situations where in small area and they're small guys, but in small and short areas in red zone compressed areas, you want the guys that can kind of make moves and get loose and get free. You see Cavante Turpin being effective in the red zone. Cavante Turpin's effective in the red zone. That's why I think Rico and that's why I think Deuce can be also effective in the red zone. Now, this week, I think we're going to see more of that because there's no Cavante. I doubt there'll be a Cavante Turpin tomorrow. So I think you'll see, on the kickoffs we know, Deuce Vaughn, Rico on punt and kicks. But on offense, I think that's where you see them also taking up some of the slack of Cavante Turpin. Not necessarily seeing Jalen Brooks in there, but seeing more Rico in double running back sets or some more Deuce Vaughn as well. So I think you're going to see maybe even Hunter Lipke in some ways. Now, I do think you want to get the ball. McCarthy said, I want to get the ball in the playmakers' hands. Those are guys like Turpin, guys like, Deuce. We haven't seen much of that this year, even with Turpin in the game. So I want to see more of that from whoever is our quote-unquote little playmaker guy out there. And I think all these guys can help this offense if used properly. And that's Mike McCarthy. Got to show us that. So, look, in the end, Turpin being gone to this game, Deuce going to get a lot of action on special teams. I think he'll get some action on at running back as well. Along with Deuce, they'll get added snaps for maybe the missing slot snaps you get from Turpin. But I think that no matter what, I think the Cowboys. This will be a great week for the Cowboys to utilize this advantage, I guess you can say, of having the ability to see what your other guys can do now. Even if the game is closer in the beginning, at least we can see what they can do, and then. I think kind of get them ready for when the games get ready when it get really good in the December and January playoffs. That's when we have to have these other guys who are going to work this week. We got to make sure they're ready to go for when it really really counts the most. So that's kind of my thought there. We're on the same page, everybody here. I think on what we want to see in this game tomorrow. I do want to hear though what Skeptical Fan said. He dropped his monthly membership comment. 35 months of domination by Skeptical Fan.
Thank you, Skeptical Fan.
In that star level membership. What did the man say?
43.
Shout out to Skeptical Fan.
Hell yeah.
That's too nice. Cowboys, I want them to
I'm sorry. I wasn't even live on that one.
Broncos game.
I don't think anybody heard me saying that. I said, what did I just say about topping out?
Beating the score.
Yeah, that 43. I agree. I don't think I had it on for reading Skeptical Fan's comment. I'm sorry about that, Skeptical. But yes.
He said 43-0 is the score I need to see. Let's beat our high score.
Yeah, that's the top score is 43. I think we need to see more. Just see against the Giants. Against the Giants, there should be no top score. We should just keep going. That's my thought. Until, we got a third quarter and we get our backups in there, fine. I also wouldn't mind seeing Trey Lance on the active roster. Maybe get him some snaps in there late in the game. If we have the lead and, arresting Dak and Cooper Rush at that point. By the way, I also see...
Could he really play?
What happened?
Could he really play MCF? Could Trey Lance really see the field?
Only if he is not inactive. If he's inactive, we have to wait for Dak and Cooper Rush to get hurt. And if that happens, then we can see. Yeah, then we're in trouble. But if we don't have him as if we don't have Trey Lance as an inactive player, which is our third quarterback, then he can actually play whenever we want him to play. So if he's not on the inactive list, there's a chance he gets in there and plays in this game. So we'll see. If he's inactive, the only way he can play is if Dak is hurt and Cooper Rush is hurt, which of course we don't want to see. And by the way, Jason Renfro went at 99 points. Why? Because Skeptical Fan gifted a membership here to Lost in Translation Podcast.
Shout out to you, Skeptical Fan. Appreciate you, of course.
And this means he's in a tie for first place on the gifting board.
That's right.
Extra special thanks to Skeptical. Congrats to Lost in Translation. And always go Cowboys. Always go Cowboys. So, again, I'm going to update the board here, baby. I don't know if Seabass wants to add. I want you to keep talking, man. What other things are you thinking about this team going forward?
So one thing I wanted to touch on specifically is, of course, we know we need to do against the scrub teams. We've already seen what we did, unfortunately, against two of the toughest teams. But in a more realistic way, let's kind of fast forward a little more to the future. We're all still expecting our Cowboys to get into the playoffs. How do you want to see our postseason kind of shake out with the way that our season has already gone? Because that's the other part, right? A few options don't seem to be... as on the table
as
anymore.
Realistic,
exactly.
The home field.
We're probably not going to get first seed, realistically speaking. So, I'm just saying, with that in mind, how do you want the rest of the season to go? / the postseason.
We don't want to win 6.
That's I know, but touching on the few things that we do know for sure.
If I can if I could summarize it, you're not going to just simply leave it at, we got to get to the Super Bowl. Because as we've learned, the Dallas Cowboys can be humbled by just about any team. So every team is to be respected as a professional NFL team. I expect a 14-3. That's what we realistically should be sitting at. I really don't. There's so many analytics and fans that just forget. Those are the top two teams. And everyone who's usually in the top has that one game where they flunk it and they mess up versus a nobody team. San Francisco had it. The Philadelphia Eagles have had it. Joe Burrow is just now getting up to speed. Josh Allen and Dak Prescott are identical. So, it's just, these teams have all lost to nobody teams. So realistically,
it's a lot
we
closer.
need to take care of business of the next 3 games. I'm sorry.
I was saying, for you, it's a lot closer then. Like, these teams aren't, miles and miles apart. Like, they're more in the mix than people want to give them credit for.
Absolutely.
So I
think that they could finish they could finish out at 14-3. If these guys, if it means as much to them to sit and watch their rivals go as far as they did and have that hurt them, if you know what that feels like and you remember what San Francisco made you feel like when you went back into that locker room, if you want it and you want it as bad as you want to breathe, these boys can do it with the roster that they got, with the loss of Overshown, with the loss of LVE, with the loss of Trayvon Diggs. Go out there and show Trayvon Diggs that you're his brother and hold up. Go out there and show the world that you're not just beating up on poor teams. Take these wins, these next 3 wins, but go out and dominate against Philadelphia at home. Go out and dominate against the Seattle Seahawks because they're viewed as a contending, competitive team. Go out and dominate those next few teams like, let's say, Miami. Put a stomp on them, and maybe that'll get me to change my perspective on, and probably maybe all of us fans, our perspectives on what this team can do.
And I'm 100% agree with you. The only thing I'll say, though, is 14-3 is not going to happen for the Cowboys. I don't see that happening for the Cowboys. I know you're saying if the Cowboys got that true, but you know what? Where I doubt the Cowboys is the fact that after that Niner game, they still didn't take this game personal. After the Niner game, Micah didn't realize.
Absolutely.
And that is a fundamental problem in-house. The Cowboys have to get this different vision. Everyone's out to kill us. Every team that the Giants, the Panthers watch, every week these sucky teams, this is their Super Bowl. We got a bullseye on our back against the shit teams and the good teams. So we got to start playing like everybody hates us, and we got to take every game personal.
Thank you, MCF. Thank you so much for saying that. I wish that these players would hear this, because in these press conferences, and he says, we know who we are, we know our identity, right? Everybody's heard him say that. If you know who you are, recognize the fact that you are a Dallas Cowboy, and either if you want that attention or don't, it's coming to you regardless. Accept that fact of the matter. Go out there, play the best version of ball for your position that you can, and that's really it. These boys are too worried about a flag over here, or either they're sitting. And here's another thing: if you're a star, we all remember the Roger Staubachs, the Troy Aikmans, the Michael Irvins. I could go on, right? When those boys were down and out on the scoreboard, you did not see them on the sideline sitting down, looking down, towel on the head. They were talking to their teammates, getting them amped up. We got this. We're going to come back. I don't see the Micah Parsons or the CeeDee Lambs, I do see the Dak Prescott doing it, but I don't see these other teammates doing that. At times you get a glimpse of the camera might pan over there and you see them saying a little bit of something at each other. But I want to see more of that camaraderie. If they have that chemistry, I want to see that, because that is what's going to take you. That's what's going to give you the discipline you need when you go out there and you get humbled and you come out here and you play a real competition. That's what you need. You need that camaraderie. You need to be able to look to your line, to LVE over to my left, or Rashaan Evans to my right. You need to be able to confidently know and confide in that man that he's going to do his assignment, and you'll be able to hold your own. That's what I want to see more of these guys doing for these players on the sideline and on the field.
But for the 90s, you go back to the 90s, and I remember those things you're talking about from our best guys, our leaders, getting in the players' faces in a good way. Like, wake up, let's
Absolutely.
go. And that is the reason it's missing, because we don't have a championship team. That's a championship team that we had back then.
This is a championship team.
Well, I'm saying they haven't.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. They become a championship team when they are able to do this consistently on the sidelines. What you're saying is the expectation of victory is something that I still don't think the Cowboys have. They say it, but they don't have that feeling of control, of domination, because we haven't dominated every team.
See it. You see it.
And that's a difference.
You see it within these players.
That's the difference between the 90s Cowboys and these Cowboys. That's the difference between the freaking Tom Brady Patriots and the Cowboys, right? I'm just saying every team that's won championships 90%, 99% of the time, they're doing exactly what you're saying they should be doing on the sideline. And I don't see enough of our guys doing that. Whether it's, listen, I love Zach.
I agree with you.
I love Zach Martin, but Zach Martin is just recently getting a little vocal. Tyron Smith never gets vocal. That's his character. I get it, but other guys got to get vocal. Micah's not. Micah goes, sits down and he chills. I'm saying it's not the same thing as I remember from the 90s, where they got into each other's face and they knew on the same page, and there was a confidence that we go out there, we can take this game and win this game and destroy this team. And I saw it week after week back then. I see the up and downs now. We did it back then against good teams and bad teams. Here, the last couple of years, we do it only against the bad teams.
MCF, if I may, you know why that's not? I'm sure you know the answer to this question. I'm just going to go right into it. There isn't a certain level of accountability being held with these players. If you drop a pass, you can just go sit on the sidelines. If that is MCW's team or MCF's team or my team, and you drop a pass, I want 1,000 suicides after the game. I want 500 push-ups, and I better have them by the time this stadium is cleared out. I'm talking about, like, getting all Samuel L. Jackson on you.
100% agree.
You got to make these players fear for their position so that they will always choose to outperform the next man up. That needs to be the beholden
100%
with these players.
100% agree.
Like that's attributing.
That's a great point, because the accountability.
Why we don't see it with this team.
Accountability is what is missing. And again, as Jay Recruiter saying it starts with the coaches. When we had, it's funny, when Jimmy Johnson instilled his way with Aikman, who didn't like him in the beginning, and Irvin, who loved them. But I'm saying every player, love him or hate him, he instilled a mindset of perfection, of greatness in the team when we were 1-15. And every year as we kept winning and growing and getting better and getting the playoffs and then winning the Super Bowl, once Jimmy Johnson was gone, the rest of the players were basically they knew what to do. And the thing that's crazy, and you go back and listen to Troy Aikman, I don't know, 97, 98, when he said he looked around at the coaching staff, and I think it was when Campo took over. And he's like, I looked around at the coaching staff and I just didn't see the same push, the same like accountability from the coaches to the players, and he said he lost it and he got mad, and he said he just couldn't. He says at that point he knew that this wasn't the same team anymore, and that's what I felt. We never got back to that after that moment. When Troy Aikman realized that in '98, he realized, oh shit, the coaches are just not giving as much of a fuck, and they're not holding anybody accountable. And Troy Aikman's trying to hold everybody accountable, and he just can't do it himself as a player only. That's the coaching, and I think that's been a thing that's been because of Jerry Jones' influence on the coaching.
Everybody needs some backup. Everybody needs some backup.
Other than Bill Parcells, who just said, fuck you, I'm leaving, after Jerry Jones tried to play his games. I'm saying every other coach that we've had since then had to play by the Jerry Jones puppet rules. And that's why there's no accountability, because Jerry Jones lets everybody off the fucking hook. You can go to Jerry Jones and say, hey Jerry, owner, boss, I want to do this and that. Hey, I dropped the ball. And if he likes you, you're cool. It doesn't matter. You just bypass the coach and talk with the fucking GM, exactly Jerry Jones. About, That's lack of accountability. That all changed when Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones split ways and I'm saying since then it's been this way because of Jerry Jones. That's the reason. Jerry Jones is one of those main reasons of why we have this mindset nowadays after 27 fucking years. Sorry, man. I'm getting into my rant stage here. Sorry about that.
I love it. I'm dissecting this. I want to pick apart your brains because this is exactly what me is. As a fan, I divulge in with, other fellow fans. I would really appreciate just if you could just think, if McCarthy, I know people would like to, dismiss that it's ancient history. He gave Moses $1. That's how old his Super Bowl ring is
Right.
and all that. But, the man has the experience. He brought him there. Okay. And that's what qualifies you. I think experience is experience, and people need to stop overlooking that. And one person that is overlooking that by doing what he is doing is the man other than himself, Clown Show, Jerry Jones, Stephen Catboy. We need to have these. I'm wondering what is duties? Like, is it just he just does what his role is? He just doesn't hold title, and it's all Stephen. But like, you got to let these boys play. You got to get some playmakers. The trade deadline came, and now we're signing Martavis Bryant. You had Jerry Jeudy out there. You had Derrick Henry. I know these are names that are a stretch, but if you're talking about you're in win now mode and you're feeling your mortality, I'm thinking if your knee engine light hasn't checked on yet, I mean, something's got to hit you, because you're watching NFC teams, not to mention Howie Roseman, just go out there and snatch up competition right in your face, and you're just completely complicit to that. You're okay. You're unfazed. You seem to have got it together. But meanwhile, Jordan Lewis is getting burned on the sideline, and Jalen Johnson hasn't been paid by Chicago yet. Like,
exactly.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
It's that win. It's that win now mode. And Jerry Jones, I'll do anything. But he ain't. He said he'll do anything. He'll do anything. But he ain't doing.
Exactly.
He's not letting himself get demoted.
I'll say it like this. I think one of you guys said it on the. I think MCF said it on a show. I think last year, and I saved it on my phone. I'm looking at my notes really quick. I saved this quote from you, MCF, because I knew I was like, one day I need to get on this show and I need to talk to him, because this is the truth right here. And I think I said it recently in a chat. I'm sorry, I got a lot of notes. I said it in the chat, and MCW read it out. Here we go. Jerry Jones is the type of person who will lose his way rather than win someone else's way.
Correct.
And that is catastrophic. It is completely deconstructive to the entire concept of what you're putting out that you are attempting to do.
I'm glad we said that, because that's true. He has to win this way. You know why? To erase the Jimmy Johnson stain in his mind.
Is it really Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah.
Though? Is it really Jimmy Johnson?
I think Jimmy Johnson won those two. Jimmy Johnson won those 2 Super Bowls, and he was the GM. Jimmy Johnson was the GM. And when Jerry Jones took over, he helped win that third one, but everyone knew, the players, the fans, that it was still Jimmy Johnson's team, players, scouts, coaches. So it wasn't really Jerry Jones. And then since then, he's been chasing, trying to chase the Jimmy Johnson thing by making it the Jerry Jones thing.
Yeah,
I truly believe that.
Said,
Sorry.
Dollar Holly,
Sorry,
thank you so much, Skeptical Fan. He said, I want to see our captains or veterans hold everyone accountable when they mess up. I haven't seen that much at all.
100%.
Agree.
100%.
I want to let you, Seabats, I want to know what you think about that. By the way, Skeptical Fan, much love. 94 points with Jason Renfro on the Stream Boss. And dropping knowledge right there, 100% agree. There is no... I'd say Dak Prescott's the guy who probably does it the most. I agree with Seabass. I've seen Dak try to get in people's faces, hold them accountable.
He's doing it.
Exactly.
He's really the only one I see doing it. I 100% agree, and I want to piggyback off of what Skeptical Fan was just saying. When you watch Tom Brady in the league, when you watch the greats, let's talk about the Manning brothers. Let's talk about the Breeze man. Slight breeze, Let's talk about Russell Wilson. Let's talk about these folks, right? When these folks were down and out, you did not see them on the bench. Their tush did not touch that bench. You had bench warmers on the bench, people who couldn't produce on the field. And even those folks were getting pep talks by that same quarterback talking about, let's do it, though. Let's do it. And I've watched teams rally together in... We've seen it. We go back. I'm 30 years old. We go back. You've seen quarterbacks that have it, the dog in them. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And I've seen Dak. He can rally these boys. But what I've not seen is a collective effort. I need to see everybody operating firing off on all cylinders, doing their assignment.
Yeah.
And when we are going to hold, if we're going to hold Dak accountable for certain things, when Dak doesn't do good, nobody does good. I got a kid. I'm sure MCF and MCW, you guys can attest to this. When mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy in that house. And nobody eating. Everybody getting TV dinners and corn dogs. You see what I'm saying? So
no comment.
If Dak is not clicking, they're not going to operate and function at the high capacity that we've seen they're capable of doing.
Yeah, get the most out of your team. That's the way you get the most out of it. Everyone's got to be on the same page, and most of these guys got to be vocal. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be vocal. Tom Brady, as I was alluding to earlier, you would see this man on the sideline in Chris Godwin's face, in Mike Evans' face, in, every receiver out there.
In Gronkowski's face. Even he was in Gronkowski's face and Edelman's face. Yeah.
He was in all of their faces back in the Patriots, as you just touched on. He was holding these boys accountable. Why is it that I'm only seeing Dak doing that when you got leaders on the team where these youngins, and you got guys that are older than you, but you are the leader. You the Mike, you're the six, right? You're supposed to lead these boys.
Yep.
They're looking to you to do your assignment so that they can function and operate the way that they're supposed to.
Yep.
And I just see when we're down and out, I constantly allude to it on every show that I've been talked on. You always see our leaders on the side looking dejected, and instead, you need to rally these boys. You got to get underneath these boys. Hell, fear is good, but anger is better. So make them angry. Say something. Make them mad. We want to see that on the sideline.
No, wake them up. Wake them up a little bit.
We want to see you ready to show up. When the moment counts, can you get on that field, chin strap up, and show up for business? That's what I want. I wish we could see more of that. I haven't seen Micah, and I got nothing to say about Micah or any of these boys. But I would just like to see, not only when you're up on the scoreboard, but when you're down and out, stay tight knit with each other.
Agree.
Agree. I think Skeptical Fan was really alluding to that when he was making his comment. And I could really agree with that. Hold these boys accountable.
I agree.
An assignment that's not excusable. It doesn't exempt you from your assignment. You still.
But that's the thing.
I'm still your friend, but.
It's unfortunate in this day and age now because of the way, again, I can't go back to the 80s and the way things were then because it was more about your team. It was a different world. But what I'm trying to say is now, I mean, these players are trying to set up for contracts. And I can't blame them. That's part of the way it goes. But yeah, it seems that the accountability side of things, and Dak cannot do it all. But I would love to see, you know what? I love Zach Martin. I love Tyron Smith, but both guys haven't been vocal in their career. Zach Martin only recently has been vocal. So to me, I think that, I wish we had more of the big name guys, the guys that run the show here as far as longevity, would be more vocal, which they're not really that much vocal. I got to give Zach Martin credit for getting out there. I know Tyron Smith is not a vocal guy, but Micah is vocal. We got to see Micah growing into that role, I think, on the defensive side. We got Dak on offense and Micah on defense. I think that's a great 1-2 punch to lead the accountability. But Micah's got to know to take these games personal. That still bothers me with Micah. He's got to take this shit personal.
That really bothers me with his comments on his podcast. It really irked me the wrong way because Micah, there's no friends out there. There's none of these players are playing to be your friend. It's always personal. You over there swapping jerseys with a team that just, might have crushed your chances at getting to where your hopes and dreams would take you. You can't just sit there and play friendly with the enemy. That is the enemy. Yeah. You know what? We can swap jerseys at the end of the season. We can be friends at the end of the season. But during season, it's all business. And one game win over a sloppy team, that doesn't make you gods. And so don't go out there acting like that. Just hold each other accountable a little bit more. The coach can only do so much. You got to think. I think Primetime Sanders that said this, why he wouldn't consider going to coach in the NFL. And it is doggone right. He would not be able to connect with these men because these men have already made salaries that can make them comfortable for foreseeable amounts of time. He can resonate with a young man that wants to reach that plateau. And so as it is with this head coach, he can only do so much. So I feel like that's where it needs to come internal. I feel like they need to hold each other a little bit more accountable, be a little bit more tight-knit if that's what they're going out in these press conferences and saying.
I hear you. And I agree. And by the way, Skeptical has more to say with the 5 on it, a $5 holler.
Right. Thank you so much, Skeptical.
What did he say?
He said, what happened to Jerry walking down the sideline when the Cowboys weren't doing well?
Yeah, I do remember those days.
Well, Jerry's an old man. He doesn't want to walk that far.
Jerry used to walk down the sidelines where losing. He used to be like thinking about things and kind of uses his stature to scare some of the players. That hasn't happened in a long time. He is old. He is an old ass Jerry Jones, and sometimes he just, when we lose a game, he scoots the hell out the back door there. So that's a good question, Skeptic. I haven't seen that in a long time, and maybe it's just his old legs. I don't know. Maybe it's too many McGriddles. But either way, Jerry Jones, he needs to just listen. He always says, "I'll do whatever it takes to win," but he won't do that. And he will. The meaning that is he will not fire himself as GM. He will, and that to me is the biggest. Not the one little things happen throughout a season that we don't win a Super Bowl or we don't get to. That's not from that. But the overall issue is that it is Jerry Jones GMing like his way to win his way, to say he did it, and then he can say now I can put all the Jerry Jones stuff. I could put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor now because Jerry Jones led our Cowboys to a Super Bowl under his complete control. I think that is something that really irks Jerry Jones, and to me, it's obvious that he doesn't respect Jimmy Johnson in that way. Until I think he'll do it if we ever win a Super Bowl while Jerry Jones is alive. I think then he'll say, Jimmy, you go in the Ring of Honor now. I think that's the way Jerry is. So, look, either way, it's great discussion. Any other things you want to kind of end with here, Seabass, or any other things you want to talk about? Because the floor is yours,
final Cowboy thoughts.
Yeah, floor is yours, bro. Tell us what you want to think. Any other things here as we get ready to wrap it up?
Absolutely. Just, let me know if you want me to shut up. I've got some other things that that were kind of crossing my mind as I'm looking over the chat here.
Hit it up.
Is Turpin fully declared to be out and active from this game?
No. So Kavontae Turpin, he's listed as questionable. I'm assuming he did go on the plane, not the plane flight, but I'm assuming he will be okay because he did the walkthrough today, but it was no demotion of his game status. So he's still questionable. He's probably 50-50 to play. Maybe it's a game-time decision. I just think that the Cowboys against the Giants, can afford to rest Turpin one extra week here and let Deuce Vaughn do the kickoffs and punts or Rico help out there and get more snaps in the backfield for Turpin on offense and in whatever place you put him, whether it's a jet sweeps or you can use all these guys in these ways as well on offense. But I think it's not a major loss in the sense of it's more important to keep Turpin here and get him healthy for next week, especially we got the Panther game next week. 3 days later, we got the Thanksgiving game. A week later, we got Seattle. These 3 games are going to come fast. So I think the Cowboys are trying to get Turpin. I would say they're probably going to get Turpin out of this game. That's my opinion. He still could play. But I think Turpin goes out because they want to rest him for the tougher stretch we got coming up. So unless they want to get him in this game and then rest him for the next couple of games, I don't know. But I think that he finished the other game against the Eagles and he was hurt, so he could probably play if it was a real big game or a playoff game. But I think the Cowboys have options here with him and maybe won't use him in this particular game because they, I don't want to say it's because of the Giants, but because we have other guys that can replace him and do just as well in the meantime to give him an extra week of rest. That's my thought on that. Hit up the chat if you want. And give me some comments from there and give your opinions and impressions on things too, man.
So I just wanted to touch on that one. Do you think that we could potentially see Martavis Bryant a little bit sooner, or are we still on par with seeing him a few weeks out?
Stephen Jones, Stephen Jones would love nothing more than to throw Martavis Bryant on that field tomorrow. But because it was his catch, he's talking about how we love getting it. He's the one really screaming about Martavis Bryant the most. So Stephen Jones said literally a couple of weeks. I just don't see it. If it was going to be sooner, trust me, Stephen Jones would be like, next week we'll see him out there. If Stephen Jones is saying a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I don't see him until the Seattle game or after, at earliest.
You think he's taking passes from Dak?
Oh yeah, he's definitely he's at practice doing catching drills and that kind of stuff. But he's getting kind of think about it as getting like acclimated when you're on the IR list or you're suspended or something. It takes you. They always wait a week or two at least to get you on that active roster, and then another week or two before you're in a game. So I think it's more acclimation, getting ready, football shape. He said he needs to get in football shape.
Yeah, getting him, used to our playbook, our play calls, whatever kind of specific Cowboy cadences that we use.
Yeah, and that's going to be important for him, I think, to then maybe, listen, here's the thing, in 3 weeks, you might see him maybe get elevated. Like, he's not going to be on the 53-man roster. We'll elevate him from the practice squad. Maybe he'll play some special teams and get 4 snaps on offense. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm saying that's probably the best you're going to see from him in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And I hate to be like the gloomy downside of this, but I think that's the realistic view there of what the Cowboys front office and the coaches expect from this signing. Even though they want to shout it like it's the best signing they've ever made, I think that it's obviously, I agree with Stephen Jones that why not get this done, right? I have no problem bringing him in, but I don't want to treat this as he's the savior of our season. I want to first see him do it, see how the Cowboys use him, because we can't even use Brandon Cooks right now. And then let's see how he progresses on our team in his career as the season kind of comes to an end, playoffs. You never know. All I'm trying to say is this. The most I expect from him is he gets onto the 53 as a 6th receiver. And the most I expect to see him in some red zone packages, at least right now, but into December and the end of the season. That's at most. At most. I'm not going to say any more than that because I think that's pretty much probably where he tops off at this year, just acclimating back to the NFL after 5 years not being here, right? So that's my thought on
I think
Martavius.
that all works out because that's on the back end with those better teams that we'll be competing against, and that he's going to come in handy then.
He may be available for those games. I agree because those are again, you got the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions. 3 out of the last 4. The last one is the Washington Commanders game, but we got 3 out of 4 games are tough playoff teams. So if we're gonna see, Martavius Bryant at all, even for 4 or 5 snaps, if you see him, it's gonna be starting in those games. I think it'll be not he's not gonna be starting, but beginning in those games, he'll be getting a couple snaps. I think on that field if he's able to get to that point in the next 3 or 4 weeks. That's my guess on him. So, yeah. Any other thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I was just enjoying just listening. I'm just soaking it in. I want to ask you, this is a hard question. I know we shouldn't be going over what ifs and what stats, but if you both, MCF, I want to ask you as well, and MCW, if you guys could have traded for someone, can you enlighten me on who you might have traded for to help this team?
That's a great question. Do you want to take this one first or you want me to take it?
I mean,
you take it, baby.
I don't know. I have a hard time thinking of any specific player that was actually out there that was like within our range. I just feel like I'm actually like, I hate to use a cheat answer. I'm going back to the draft. I think that we could have used our 2nd round pick more effectively, more than any trade situation, because honestly, trade-wise, we were really limited on picks because we don't have that many this year. The players that were highly ranked, that were actual like viable trade options, were kind of at positions where we were, we were okay at for the most part. So to me, I would have just gone back and done something different with Schoonmaker. If we would have picked up that offensive lineman whose name eludes me at this moment.
Osiris Torrance.
There we go, that one.
Well,
I think, especially considering the way that our O-line situation has gone now, like, think of the injuries that happened in some of our pickup situations. That would have been one less crappy offensive lineman that we would have had on the roster. Maybe you could afford to have some of that extra depth at linebacker or cornerback.
Good point.
Or even a receiver or something else. You know what I mean? Anyway.
I'm going to... Actually,
I hate that's such a cop-out answer.
No, it's not. It's an overall answer. I'm going to give a direct answer. The guy who I was focusing on, and Seabass brought him up, is cornerback Jalen Johnson from the Bears. If the Cowboys wanted to make a move for now and for the future, that's the best move you could have made. If you get someone like Jalen Johnson, you're helping the team now. You got to sign him next year, but hey, you know what? You need to replace Stephon Gilmore. So to me, that would be a great compliment next year. Right now you would have Stephon Gilmore and Jalen Johnson. Next year you'll have Trayvon Diggs and Jalen Johnson. It's a win-win. And yes, you might have to give up a 2nd rounder and a 5th rounder next year. You know what I'm saying? But whatever, it's worth it when you get yourself an established cornerback.
A couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a guy who's right now established cornerback. He's young. he'll be a guy that can, that's going to take you with Trayvon Diggs to the future here. And I think that would have been a great 1-2 punch for the future. Not just for this year, but for the future. Of course, we don't have Trayvon Diggs anymore, but that would have been a great upgrade. And then you could put, to me, the one of the other big gains from getting a solid outside cornerback is now you can move Deron Bland, who can play outside or inside, but back to his best position at nickel cornerback. And then you get the most. He's still great outside. Don't get me wrong, but he can lock you down in the inside. You got to lock down inside. You got to lock down two guys outside. Now you really can't do anything. At least right now you'll have some issues there at times from the slot with Jordan Lewis when he's over there. A couple feet behind his receiver. So I think that would have been the most advantageous deal for a bigger deal. I know you're saying, I do agree with you though, baby, that there's not many deals that would have fit the Cowboys' want list as far as draft picks. But
and it's not that I necessarily disagree with your thoughts or Steve Ass's thoughts. It's just that it's like, that's fine.
It's not the Jones way.
It's fine.
The Joneses Jerry Jones would never pull a deal like that. They wouldn't do it. They care too much about their draft picks. So in the end, I do agree with you, baby. In the end, but Jalen Johnson would have been the guy I would have liked to see the Cowboys maybe make a bigger move for.
Actually done something.
Yeah, they didn't really do much on that, so that sucks there.
But two things can be true at once. I do agree with MCW. When I was watching this draft, I was sitting here scratching my head, and I turned my TV off, and I I left it to ESPN to update me. I was not understanding why we got somebody named Schoonmaker when Osiris Torrance was right there. Hell, you had Micah Parsons in Dan Phone's back pocket calling him, hey, get this cat, snatch that guy. What about this guy? And it's like, of all people, you got a tight end. You had Jake Ferguson. You had Hendershot. You have Sean McEwen. You have all these guys.
Don't forget John Stevens Jr. snuck in there at the end there.
And himself as well. Why would they go for that? That was just so questionable. Now, I think it's just that they're feeling a little bit of that ass pain because Biotish and Terrence Steele are kind of showing that they got a little bit of rust they need to knock off.
Yep. And I think, listen, I truly think this was we're going to kind of roll it out here for a minute, a couple more minutes, and we're going to call it a night. But I do want to say, based on what you just said there, when you think about what McCarthy wanted to do in this pick, I think he's the one that really was the pusher for the Schoonmaker pick. I think this is what he was thinking. I truly think this is what he was thinking. Because he said it right after we drafted him. He said, a guy don't have to be a starter. It's more about the percentage of the snaps he plays. Implying that he was going to play 50, 60, 70% of the snaps, even if he wasn't a starter. I think he was looking at Schoonmaker as another type of like offensive lineman. So you get a little tight end from him and offensive line blocking. He's a very good blocker. But second round pick to be just to get a blocker in Osiris Torrance, I think maybe McCarthy was looking at it, we'll get a blocker and a guy who could also catch the ball in a tight end body. And I don't know if that's the right pick or not. I don't think it is, but I think that was Mike McCarthy's mindset. We get two guys, like two positions in one here, a tight end that can make some basic catches and a top blocker at the tight end spot, which serves as our sixth, offensive lineman when we want to. That's my guess. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that feels like the way it is.
Later round. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's the way he was looking at this pick. I just don't think you pick up a blocking tight end in the second round. I think you want to go a blocking tight end in the fourth, fifth round, okay, but I don't know about a blocking tight end in the second round where there's other talent there that's better and that's in one position than this guy is, straddling two positions, which is what I think McCarthy wanted to do.
He's Jerry the doctor. If he recognizes that one guy can't get it done, he recognized that. Why wouldn't you go and get somebody like that? Your line is deteriorating. You lost Fredericks. Tyron's on his way out. You're starting to see a little bit of wear on Zach Martin, thank you. And Biotish, I've never really looked at Biotish as one of those dudes. And Terrence Steele, he's coming off an injury, so that's really not reliable.
And looking lackluster. I agree.
It's like, those are mistakes that were made, and I just feel like they could have done differently. That should have been held differently.
Agree. And our picks, our picks that we traded now, that's why we didn't make any deadline trades here, because we used them for Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. So those were, I know Jerry Jones reiterated that, but I knew that's the way Jerry Jones was going to do it, not just because we did those moves back then, and that he's saying that that's what the moves we did back then. That's why we did them now. Other teams did moves back then, and they did moves now here too, like the Eagles and the Niners and others. But I think the biggest thing.
That's why Jerry's so funny.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
It makes no sense, right?
So funny. Like you wouldn't trade a second round pick for a quality player. Why would you waste a second round pick on a position that you didn't need? It's like Jerry, I heard something from my grandmother, rest in peace, Grandma, I love you. Money is funny and change is strange. Jerry got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
But ever since Jimmy Johnson left that building, something changed.
Yeah.
Ever since
he left, you know what changed? Jerry Jones is the GM. And that's been the thorn in our side since then. Let's be real about it. The only thing he did that helped us win a Super Bowl, a little drop, was getting Deion Sanders. Prime time. Outside of that, he didn't do shit. It was all Jimmy Johnson, his coaches, his players, his staff, his scouts, case closed. So that's what
his scheme.
That's what changed. Yeah, that's what changed. We got Barry Switzer doing the same shit that Jimmy Johnson did. So, hey, Seabass, man, it was a great conversation. I truly appreciate you in the over everything level. We appreciate your 2 cents on our Cowboys and your interaction with this panel, with this chat here tonight on a Saturday night as we get to that, pregame NFC rivalry, I don't say battle, but NFC rivalry against the New York Giants tomorrow. So, I think we covered a lot of things. Any last thing you want to end with here on your side of things, or your thoughts, or any last questions or thoughts, brother?
Sure. How about them Cowboys?
Hell yeah.
Philly, fuck the Giants, and fuck the Washington Commies. This is Blue Star Nation, Blue Empire, Cowboys for life, DC for life. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed it.
Hey,
appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, Seabass.
I look forward to doing this again.
Hey.
I want to holler at everybody in the chat. I see all of you guys. Thank you. Raul, MH, all of y'all. I hope we do this again. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, over everything every month. We'll do it again next month, man. And we'll see you on here. I want your 2 cents if you're in the deal here, and you can drop your thoughts again where we're at in a month from now. It'll be interesting because that's going to be the real ending of the season. We need to push this thing all the way through. It won't be the Giants next month. It'll be the Eagles. It'll be the Bills, the Dolphins.
Some of that nasty December football.
Yeah, that's going to be some real football going down then. So, brother, appreciate you again. And yes, never forget the number one thing here, guys. You know the deal, right, Mr. Seabass? Go Cowboys!
Fucking Cowboys!
Hell yeah,
yes,
brother!
Sir.
We'll see you in the chat now as we finish up, and we'll see you in the chat tomorrow. I'm hoping for the game. We'll see you in there, man, and we'll get this win together. You know what I mean?
I'll be in the mix. You know I'm gonna be there.
Hell yeah, Seabass! Appreciate you, brother.
Have a good night.
You too, man, and go Cowboys!
Ooh.
You know it.
Go Cowboys!
You know it. Much love to the man, Seabass, bringing it here. I love the different viewpoints. The Giants, fuck the Giants.
Always.
Fuck the trash of New York. Let's thrash the trash. The tinies, the whinies. Let's get them. Listen, this is what the Giants like to do. But in the end, we know they suck. And that's the thing. We cannot allow this Giants team to upset us in any way. Upset our blood pressure. Upset this battle that will go down tomorrow in AT&T Stadium in our house. 11 straight home wins. Giants suck. Let's get that 12th. The Giants. Let's pound the Giants tomorrow. You know what I mean. Much love to Seabass. Bringing it here. The real, the raw, the facts. Really. I love his breakdowns. I love the difference of opinions in some things and how we all see things from all different angles and sides here in the Cowboy family. Here in the Cowboy fan base. Much love to Seabass. Over everything here with us on My Cowboys Family. As we wrap it up on our side, I do want to make sure as I double check everything, I'm going to give another shout out to the Cash App leader, the overall leader, Stanley Smith. He dropped the love tonight, but so did Skeptical Fan with a gifted membership and 2 5s on it. With great questions from him as well. And of course, last night after the stream, Jason Renfro dropping his love. Appreciate you 3 rocking it and dropping it like it's hot. Jason Renfro, by the way, in the lead, actually in a tie with Skeptical Fan for the gifting leader board right now. Each of them got 3. Skeptical Fan he got the big victory last week. He's trying to go back-to-back. He just tied Jason Renfro. It's a field goal each. We'll see how that pans out. Jason got 89 points, Hendershot style. He's still on IR, by the way. Jason Renfro repping 89 points on that stream, boss. And, of course, when you look at the... Again, let me give a quick shout-out again. Special shout-out to Seabass, the only guy in the over everything level. One of the extra perks outside of the star level membership and the jersey and all that stuff is also, of course, being on the show here with us. Appreciate you, Seabass, for your 2 cents and your thoughts on our Cowboys. Also, of course, the top spot. You know, a former over everything member here and a guy, baby, I think we all know why he's here. I mean, you see him here, SnugX.
Woo.
He's the sponsor of the week, back to back, like the 90s Cowboys. Oh, you know it. And not only that, baby, he's also, as we all know, got that Cash App Kingdom under effect in full lockdown. SnugX, 12 weeks in a row. He is currently showing out as, you know, on the board with others like Jason Renfro, Skeptical Fan, and many, many others. But, baby, the man who's leading the way right now on the overall board and in the Cash App, I said his name earlier because he did drop some love, and he also took the lead with that love. It is the man Stanley Smith trying to break that big 12-week streak, and he will do it tomorrow. The last chance for SnugX to come and take that 13th week in a row. Jason Renfro's got 20. That's the record. Tomorrow, will that record continue? Will that streak continue towards Jason Renfro, or will Stanley Smith step in the way and take over the sponsor of the week and take over that big streak in the Cash App? We'll find out tomorrow during the game. At the end of the game, we'll crown some champions, baby.
Yeah.
Who's in the house tonight?
Yeah, let me do some final shout-outs here.
Let's
like
go.
Mr. Stewart. Hello and hi.
Yeah.
Much love to you, of course. I believe you're currently leading maybe in... Right?
Is that no? I don't know. I don't think. No, that's Stanley Smith. No, Stewart. Mr. Stewart's been on here before, though, in the past. Much love, Mr. Stewart in the house.
So we got Seabass.
Ready for this
of course.
game?
Thank
Ready
you
for
so
this
much,
game?
Seabass.
Woo.
Brendan James in the house.
Yeah.
Asmodeus representing Lake West Chase. Yeah. If this is a trap game, just throw me off the side of the Hudson River.
If the Cowboys think this is a trap game and they play to it as a trap game, then we don't deserve the playoffs. If they play like that.
Much love. Chuck Montana 808. You know.
Montana in the
Raul
house.
in the house. MH getting money. Sheldon Johnson. Much
Get
love.
money.
I agree. Terrible draft class. Q Ball. We have Mater 97. Skeptical Fan. Always staying skeptical. Cactus G, Pioneer, even you, Meatball Ron.
Meatball Ron in the house.
Let me see. Stephen White, Little Dallas Cowboy, Burn Bar, of course. Let me see. I can't go. SnugX in the house.
Snug, you know why he's
Cash
here.
App King, the stream boss.
You know, you guys brought up about the draft class, which we brought up here multiple times, and how it's really, especially the first first 3 picks, Mozzie Smith, hardly any production.
Yeah.
Luke
Stephen
Schoonmaker.
White, Retro Scotty,
Yeah.
Thomas Garrett, the
Much
Superior
love,
Garrett.
man. The ballers
All of
in
you
the
guys,
house.
again, huge shout out. Have a great night.
Yeah, I wanted to say that Mozzie, Luke Schoonmaker, DeMaurian Overshown, very little. Obviously, even Overshown's out. No production from our day 1 and day 2 guys, our top 3 picks. And keep looking. Because day 3 picks, that's 4th, 5th, 6th round. Fahoko hasn't been active. Austin Richards hardly's played. Eric Scott, I don't see he's inactive all the time. Jalen Brooks, we're still waiting for him. Deuce Vaughn's got the most play out of this second half of guys. Not a good draft class at all for our Cowboys. So we got to see better from the players. And we got to see better from these coaches to get these guys worked up to the right spots where they need to be. And then maybe even Will McClay needs to take an extra class or 2 on things. I don't know. We'll see what happens. He's always been hitting the bullseye pretty well for Will McClay. So if anyone gets a pass, it's him. But still, he's got to improve his game too, I guess. Right? Guys, thank you for rocking with us, dropping the knowledge, the love from above, and rocking with us here on My Cowboys Family on a Saturday weekend show, a pregame party, I guess you can say, for tomorrow's game. Again, game 9 for us, but it's week 10 in the NFL, and I'm ready to give a good giant ass kicking to the New York Trash. Let's thrash them, baby. Why do we do this thing here on My Cowboys Family every single damn night, all the time? Why do we do this crazy thing, baby?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw. Good, bad, or ugly. Here in MCF, you see it on my shirt, but it's always that star over everything. On the shirt, the star over everything. Over MCF. That's right, guys, and thank you for dropping here with us for 6 years plus. On YouTube, My Cowboys Family, been rocking it. Good, bad, or ugly. Guys, thank you, and remember, never, ever forget the number one thing here on My Cowboys Family. As always, never forget. Go Cowboys! And yes, let's get that 6 and beyond. Let's get it sooner than later.
Yes.
Guys, we get that late show sometimes and an MCF After Dark. They only show once while they're live. There's no rewinding either. Not going to happen tonight. I'm just saying, look for it. We don't post that's only for the people. If you know, you know. So if you want to check out sometimes during the week, the weekends, you might get an MCF notification from After Dark at like 4 a.m. You're like, what? Yeah, we rock it late sometimes there. So it's not football. It's everything else. It seems here's for the football. Everything else is over there, guys. Just want to throw that out there as we keep it going. Thank you for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. Thank you guys. Truly humbled by your love from above. Sea Bass's appearance today. Truly appreciate everything he gives to the channel, but also appreciate his 2 cents, his thoughts on our team, the Dallas Cowboys. And like I said, the dropping the love from above today. Jason Renfro, Stanley Smith, Skeptical Fan. Also big thanks to you guys, baby, as we clock out for the night, drop out for the night, relock and reload for the game tomorrow. The rebound, the must-win, no excuse game, thrashing the trash of New York, baby. Before we can drop out for the night, what do we got to do?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. And that beat officially has been dropped. Again, big thank you. Big shout out. Big, huge thanks to Seabass over everything here on that membership side of things. I cannot wait to hear from him next month on our Dallas Cowboys. And where we're going to be at next month, it's going to be all in the Cowboys. It's in their hands for our Cowboys to make sure we need to be where we need to be at. When we get those Eagles in early December, let's do our job, and let's just see what happens to them. Here in MCF, here on My Cowboys Family, here, another Cowboys chat in the books. Talked about the offense. We know what we got to do. We know the advantages. CeeDee Lamb in the slot, anywhere. CeeDee Lamb. They have no real defensive coverage guys left for them. Our guys on our defense got to scare Tommy DeVito. Got to stop Saquon Barkley, Micah, Marquise Bell, the whole damn defense. Get it done. Don't go out there and have fun. Take it personal. And let's whip the fucking Giants. Case closed. Here in MCF, you know the deal. It's always about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Never, ever, ever forget the number one thing here, My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone, even the haters. We'll see you all back here for another one. Cowboys, Giants, in Big D. You ready? I'm ready. Thank you all, guys. Hit that like. Hit subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell. Follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family. And join us tomorrow for the game. Live stream reaction. Oh, you know it. Our 7th season doing this thing on the live stream reactions. Thank you all, guys. Have a good night. Great weekend. Stay safe. We'll see you for the game tomorrow. And never, ever forget, Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.